Hi, welcome to Caregiver Training Session 4. Today we're going to talk all about using reinforcement to increase desired behavior and teach your child new skills. After a brief review of antecedent behavior consequence and the ABC model, I'll discuss with you types of consequences, how to define reinforcement, identifying and selecting reinforcers to use with your child, how to use reinforcement to teach skills and increase desired behavior, the difference between reinforcement and bribery, and challenges and additional considerations. Remember, behavior is any action that can be observed. We categorize them in two ways: adaptive behavior and maladaptive behavior. Adaptive behavior enables a person to get along in their environment, be independent and successful. Maladaptive behavior impedes on those things. We use the ABC model to help us analyze and understand behavior. The antecedent is what occurs immediately before the behavior. This is also known as a trigger or a cue. The consequence is what occurs after a behavior. This is called the response. The response will either increase or decrease the likelihood the behavior will occur again in the future. In session 3, we spoke all about prevention strategies. Remember, prevention strategies focus on making changes to the antecedent. Making changes to the antecedent in order to reduce the likelihood or prevent a target behavior from occurring. Today, we're going to focus on the consequence. Consequence strategies focus on the response to a behavior. The response to the behavior will either increase or decrease the likelihood that the target behavior will occur again in the future. There are different types of consequences. A consequence that reinforces a behavior makes the behavior more likely to happen again in the future. A consequence that punishes or extinguishes a behavior makes those behaviors less likely to occur. Today, we're going to focus on reinforcement. There's two types of reinforcement. Both positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement both increase the likelihood a behavior will occur again in the future. Positive simply means adding. Negative simply means removing. Positive reinforcement is adding something after a behavior occurs, which will increase the likelihood the behavior will occur again in the future. Some examples include a child asking for candy and then receiving candy. The behavior of asking for candy is positively reinforced by the addition of candies to the environment. Putting toys away and getting to watch a TV show. The behavior of putting toys away is reinforced positively by getting to watch a TV show. The TV show is added to the environment. Now let's look at negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement simply means removing something from the environment that increases the likelihood the behavior will occur again. Remember, this is still reinforcement. Negative simply means removing, it doesn't mean bad. Here are some examples. A child throws their dinner plate onto the floor, and then the dinner plate gets removed and they don't have to eat the dinner they didn't want. So the behavior of throwing the plate gets negatively reinforced because the dinner they didn't want goes away. It's removed. Here's another example. Cleaning up the kitchen and then getting to skip out on putting the garbage out. So the act of cleaning up the kitchen, that behavior, gets negatively reinforced because they get to skip out on any additional chores. Why do we use reinforcement? Reinforcement can be used to teach new skills, to teach adaptive behaviors, to teach appropriate and desired behavior you may want to increase with your child. It also can be used to maintain learned skills and desired behavior. Using reinforcers. Positive reinforcement, remember, means adding or delivering or giving access to something called a reinforcer. There's different types of reinforcers. Primary reinforcers are things like food and drink. We need those to survive. Social reinforcers, such as hugs, high fives, giving praise, or any kind of social attention. Tangible reinforcers are things that we can touch and hold, such as toys or other enjoyable items. Activities or privileges, such as taking a trip to the playground, bike riding, or special time with mom or dad. Tokens, such as points, stars, checks, and even money. They don't have actual value, but they can be exchanged or used to purchase primary, social, tangible, or other activity of reinforcers. How do you identify reinforcers? Remember, reinforcers are up to the individual. They have to be desired, liked, wanted. You can ask your child what they like if that's possible. If not, talk to others who know your child well, such as teachers or therapists. You can also present an array of options to see what your child chooses, or give them free access and just watch what they gravitate towards or engage with. Some tips for identifying reinforcers. You want to make note of any maybe unusual or stereotypic type of activities your child has. Those might be able to be used as a reinforcer. Also, take note of some primary reinforcers, some of their favorite foods or drinks that can be used contingently. Note some activities your child may have free access to. You may want to withhold free access and use those contingently. Keep track of your child's reinforcers using a reinforcer list. Consider reinforcers from each of these areas. Start with two or three, and your list should grow as time passes and you discover more reinforcers. Let's take a look at this video called Favorite Toy. Here's a child who's sitting on the floor with access to a variety of toys. Let's see if a specific reinforcer emerges. In that video, we see that the child has access to a variety of toy items. I see animals, I see Legos and trains, I see transportation. However, the child does not look at or touch the other items. He remains engaged with the magnadoodle. I can likely say that the magnadoodle can be used as a reinforcer. So how do we use reinforcers and reinforcement to change or increase behavior? The first thing you want to do is select the target behavior that you either want to change, teach, or maintain. Determine what your goal will be and how this behavior will change. Decide exactly how you're going to reinforce the desired behavior. For new behaviors, it's best to deliver or provide reinforcement every time the child is successful. As behaviors are learned, reinforcers can be gradually faded or delivered intermittently or every once in a while. Remember to deliver your reinforcers immediately after a desired behavior. If there's too much time between the behavior and the reinforcer, many children will lose the connection. If the connection is lost, the reinforcement is less effective in behavior change. Use your reinforcers contingently, meaning the reinforcer must follow a desired behavior. This is called a behavior contingency. When a child does something that's desired, they will receive the reinforcer. You also want to maintain reinforcer value. Some reinforcers lose their value if they're given too freely or non-contingently in other settings, or they're given too often or too much at a time. Remember to pair social reinforcement or praise or other types of social reinforcers while you're delivering those primary activity or tangible reinforcers. This will strengthen the social reinforcement. Also consider using visual cues or reminders for the desired behavior and the reinforcer, like a first then board. Some children benefit from visual cues. Let's watch some videos to see if you can identify what the caregiver is doing wrong based on the information you just learned.
Where does this one go? This one? This one. Where does this one go? This. This one. This.
In this video, we see the caregiver placing demand after demand after demand. Likely she's teaching the child a new skill. However, we see no reinforcement whatsoever. Remember to set your schedule of reinforcement. What does that mean? Schedule of reinforcement simply means how often and when you will deliver the reinforcement. For new behaviors, remember, deliver reinforcement every time. Fade that delivery of reinforcement as behaviors or skills are learned. Let's watch video 3 called Toy Fight. We'll watch this video twice. The first time I'll play all the way through.
Hey guys, you're cleaning up and I didn't even have to ask you. All right, I'm gonna get you guys a treat.
Hey, look what I found. Mine. 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 Give me that.
You guys, don't fight. Hey, look, here. All right, we're fighting.
Let's watch it one more time, and I'll pause at some important moments.
Hey guys, you're cleaning up and I didn't even have to ask you. All right, I'm gonna get you guys a treat.
So in this video, you see the boys are cleaning up their toys nicely, and mom does a great job. She catches them being good. She provides lots of social reinforcement and then tells them she's gonna go get them a treat, which is that tangible reinforcer. Let's see what happens when she leaves the room.
Hey, look what I found. Mine. Mine. Mine.
So now you see the boy's behavior quickly went to the maladaptive category, right? We see fighting, we see physical aggression, and then mom walks back into the room and let's see what she does.
Mine. Give me that.
You guys, don't fight. Hey, look, here.
Okay, so we see mom walks in, she sees that they're fighting, and she immediately wants it to diffuse, so she gives them that treat that she was getting. Now, her intention was to reinforce the cleaning up behavior, but because that reinforcement was so delayed, she ended up actually reinforcing the fight. Because remember, the timing of the delivery of the reinforcement is crucial. So you want to aim to deliver your reinforcement immediately after a behavior. If time lapses, there are chances that you may reinforce inappropriate or other types of behavior, or there's a connection that's lost and the reinforcement becomes ineffective. Let's see video number 4 called Shape Game Reward.
Find mommy a yellow circle. All right, that's a good job. Here, now you get your Pokemon card.
I want it.
Here.
I want it.
So in that video, mom had the reinforcement ready. However, the child didn't want that Pokemon card. So it's very important to remember that reinforcers are only considered reinforcers if they are something that's desired. And they must be desired in that moment. Reinforcers naturally change. They change throughout the day. They change over days and years. So it's important to pre-assess what your child wants prior to the behavior that you are increasing or changing or focusing on. Or if you're not able to do that beforehand, you can offer choices. Let's take a look at video number 5.
Where does this one go? Very good. That was good. You're paying attention, aren't you? Huh. Here we go. Okay, now where does this one go? Nice. You put the yellow one with the yellow blocks, right? Good job. There. All right. Where does this one go? Excellent. You are really paying attention today. You put the blue with the blue. Very good. Here you go.
So in that video, you see that mom is giving the boy some sort of treat after each match. Now we want to remember to fade our reinforcement. While it's important for new behaviors to be reinforced every time, learned behaviors should not be reinforced every time. We have to start to fade the amount of reinforcement over time. Harder things receive more reinforcement. Easier things, less reinforcement. There are some common challenges with reinforcement. Sometimes we hear that nothing serves as a reinforcer, or I tried reinforcement in the past and it didn't work. Sometimes reinforcement really requires some creative problem-solving skills. We might need to actually reframe what we consider a reinforcer. Perhaps it's a repetitive or stereotypic or perseverative type of play. You might also require limited access to other sort of specific activities or objects that your child usually has free access to. It requires consistency and strategy to be effective. A common misconception is that bribery and reinforcement are the same things. They are actually very different. The main difference involves when a reinforcer is delivered. A bribe delivers reinforcement after a problem behavior and is presented more as a negotiation. Reinforcement is a planned contingency, and it's offered upfront before the child is required to do something and before any related problem behavior might occur. Here's an example of bribery. Mom asks the child to pick up the toys. Child throws a tantrum, and then mom says, "Fine, if you pick up your toys, I'll give you some ice cream." You can see here mom's offer of ice cream, or that reinforcer, happens after she places a demand and after the child has problem behavior. Take a look at what reinforcement would look like. Mom says, "You can have some ice cream if you pick up your toys," before any problem behavior occurs. Here are some considerations. Remember, every child has likes and dislikes. Some children may have unusual looking reinforcers. The trick is to take note of what your child gravitates to naturally. Natural reinforcers are materials or activities that already occur in your child's home or school. Remember to make your privileges contingent upon appropriate behavior. Many children have free access to a variety of privileges. Privileges can be used to reinforce that desired behavior. For example, rather than nagging a child to stay at the dinner table, a parent can make dessert or TV time contingent on them staying in their seat. Remember, reinforcers may change over time. Your child's development level and changing interests bear on the selection of reinforcers. If you need any additional support, please feel free to contact me directly at nbarnett2@schools.nyc.gov. You may also access additional caregiver training videos from my YouTube channel here. Please stay tuned for Caregiver Training Session 5, the strategy of planned ignoring, how, when, and why. Thanks for joining.